My name is François Pellin. I'm senior producer here in Quebec City for Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
My name is Marc-Alexis Côté, and I'm the creative director on Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
The studio has been producing games and creating games for the last 10 years, but it's true that over the years there's been a lot of collaboration, but now it's our chance, it's our kind of the opportunity that we have to shine and to do something that we lead. And so the team here is super passionate and super, I'll say hungry, kind of. They really want to do good. So that's working crazy hard and making sure Assassin's Creed Syndicate is a success.
It's something that we've been aspiring to since Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. When I first started working on this project, I can still remember the day I started working on it, creating the Leonardo machines, like the flying machine, the tank, and all that for Assassin's Creed. And it feels great to bring this spirit of innovation to a game like Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
The one thing that we do a lot on creating Assassin's Creed games like we do for the past few years is learning. We learn every year. We make mistakes. Yes, we do. We make mistakes. We have success on others, and so we're a learning machine. And one thing that we've done last year differently, we'll do it differently this year. And so it's all within that kind of movement and motion that we do. We do our games and we do our best. Seriously, we have groups of passionate people that as well like to play their games and be proud of what they do.
Let's go back to last year. The release of Unity might have been a little bit troublesome. There was some critique from the fans. How does that influence the way you guys look at the development of Assassin's Creed Syndicate? Is it something that makes you nervous about the game, or does it inspire you to work even harder and make up for all the flaws that Unity had at the release?
Well, I would definitely say it inspires us to work harder, because there's nothing more important for us as a team than to please and satisfy our fans. This is something that I think about every night before I go to sleep. It's like, how can we build a great game?
For me, the essence of a great Assassin's Creed game needs to start with obviously being true to the period. So every year, I like to say that every year we're almost creating a new IP within the brand, yes, but almost within a new IP, because we're reinventing so much. For example, on Assassin's Creed Syndicate, it would have not be possible to showcase the Industrial Revolution without carriage on the street. It would not be possible, and not being able to drive them, people would say, "Come on, I need to be able to drive it, and cannot be just cosmetic." That's something that we innovate with, and same thing with the rope launcher, for example. It's completely new. It's a new way, a new tool for the player to use. It's more freedom for the player. It's all those. It's not just an icon. It's not just a sign. It's not within the fight, for example. It's completely a new fight. The way it was done back then. You were not having swords, or you're not having axe, or it was hand to hand, close combat, and that's what it makes. That's the power of Assassin's Creed, I believe, is that to be true to the period that you're in.
In terms of navigation, it's all focused on fluidity and seamlessness, which is something that is super important to us, and that we are using as well the rope launcher to improve this experience, make sure that the players can move faster than ever where they want to. In terms of stealth, again, fluidity and seamlessness is another point that we are working on, making sure that players don't have tons of buttons to press to remove themselves from a cover, and that all feels very fluid. And in terms of fight, we are cutting the latency in half to make sure the combat is more responsive and is about the player moving fluidly from one target to another. On top of that, we need key innovations, and for us this year, vehicles that are available for the player throughout the city, I think, is something that will change the way people experience Assassin's Creed. And now, it's like the list is long of things that we need to do perfectly, but we need to choose a great setting. And Victorian London, the industrial era, is an age that it's a pivotal moment of history. In terms of story, we now have two protagonists, Jacob and Evie Fry, that will bring a lot of player choice to the experience and to how they approach it. And I think in terms of story, it will feel really fresh to see how those two characters bounce off one another. So I think that answers part of your question. And the other part is, I think vehicles and the way people can have fun with them will really change the way people experience Assassin's Creed. One of the things that we are trying to accomplish with Assassin's Creed Syndicate is that actually by setting it in a single year, 1868, we can focus more on the characters that are iconic of this era.
Jacob has, he's born and raised being an assassin. He's getting into London of 1868, right in the middle of the Industrial Revolution, with his twin sister Evie. And I'm not going to give you the detail of the storyline of why they're there and what's the assassin motivation behind, but they're in London, and to accomplish what they need to accomplish, or to get to their target, they need to conquer boroughs by boroughs with using the street gangs. So it's really like it's the birth of the criminal organization back then. It's where it started, and basically, using his gang, he's going to do activities that will give him access, or give them access, I should say, to their targets. And so this is the motivation behind. This is a kind of the green context, but we'll get more. We'll give more details about the narrative arc of Assassin's Creed Syndicate later on.
I think one of the things we bring is really a spirit of innovation, of determination. We are a smaller studio than the Montreal studio, and everybody here is focused. Every person on the studio is working on Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and we need to make this a great game, and we want to make this a great game. So I think there is this desire, this strong desire to make a great game.
The mechanic behind the choice of the context, the period, and all, that's something we keep internally. Picking up Industrial Revolution, something that was, it's a brand. We work with, we collaborate with Montreal, with Paris, and we came up with that direction years ago. The Ubisoft Quebec is in great position to do Assassin's Creed Syndicate, purely and simply because right from the start we said, we have a passion. We have a passion first for history. That's the first thing. That's the motivation of the brand. History is our playground. And very naturally, as a creative process flows, we said, let's explore the Victorian London. Let's do that. Let's try to consume what's been written, what's been done in terms of entertainment, and let's embrace that period. And everyone got excited. Everyone got super excited with the period and said, well, it's natural to go on and just do that. That's why. That's why the studio of Quebec City right now is living and breathing in London of 1868, the Industrial Revolution, and that's why we're best suited to make that game.
Well, we've been a studio that has loved to innovate, and we've been innovating into the brand for quite a while now with a lot of what we call the exotic missions, the Leonardo missions, and all those kinds of elements. So we bring this spirit of innovation to the brand, and the industrial era and the Quebec City studio are two things that go perfectly together to refresh the experience of Assassin's Creed.
The studio is different. The mentality, the culture is different. Does it make choices different from the Quebec studio or the core team have decided differently than what we would have done in Montreal or Toronto, for that matter? Absolutely. And that's part of the creation. That's part of what makes leadership in different studio works, is that we take different decisions because we think different. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of creating games. There's nothing that we had planned 2 years and a half ago that's exactly like we wanted to have it now. So that's part of it.
If you can pick one feature, one component of Assassin's Creed Syndicate you're most proud of, what would it be?
It's like you're asking me to choose my favorite child. I've got many of them. I'm really proud of how the rope launcher is turning out to be. It's something that started as we were discussing around a napkin to try to solve the problem of the streets are wider, the buildings are taller. How do we keep the player moving with a lot of fluidity in this environment? And the way people are responding to it in playtests, I think, is great. People are in love with it, and I'm really proud of this.
I can pick up the features of the game, but the one thing that I'm most proud is that I talked to you about how hungry the team is and how passionate and dedicated team is. This is when we take the leadership of such a big game and such a big brand. This needs to come, and that's what happened. This is what's happening now, and team is super passionate, and that's where I'm the most proud of, for sure.